The gavel cracked like a gunshot in the hushed courtroom of Dominic Hale's mind, sentencing him to a lifetime of boardroom battles he never wanted. "You're throwing it all away for him?" His father's voice thundered, veins bulging like rivers of rage on his neck. Anthony Blackwood knelt in the rain-slicked alley behind the gala, his tuxedo ruined, whispering, "I love you anyway," as Dominic's lips met his in a kiss that tasted of champagne and goodbye. That was the night it all shattered 3 years ago, under the neon haze of a Manhattan fundraiser where old money collided with desperate dreams. Dominic Hale, heir to Hale Industries, the sprawling empire of steel and skyscrapers that clawed its way from Pittsburgh Mills to Wall Street dominance, had always been the golden boy. At 32, he was sharp-suited, sharper-tongued, with eyes like polished obsidian that could negotiate a merger or silence a room. His family traced roots back to the robber barons, their name etched in brass plaques on Ivy League buildings and Forbes lists. But Dominic, he was the glitch in the code, a poet trapped in a tycoon's body, scribbling verses in the margins of quarterly reports, dreaming of lofts in Brooklyn where jazz records spun like lazy smoke. Anthony Blackwood crashed into his world like a rogue wave. 28, with ink-stained fingers from freelance graphic design gigs, and a laugh that cut through the din like sunlight on fog, Anthony was the son of a single mom from Queens who'd scrubbed floors to put him through community college. No silver spoon, just grit and a portfolio of album covers for indie bands that barely paid rent. He'd scored the invite to the Hale Gala through a connection, a favor from a client who'd cashed in on Dominic's philanthropy arm. "Dress sharp, kid," the guy had said. "Hale's got eyes for talent. Talent." That's what Dominic called it later, in the stolen moments before the fall. But that first night, as crystal glasses chimed and power brokers schmoozed, Anthony lingered by the bar, sketching caricatures on a napkin to steady his nerves. Dominic spotted him across the room, isolated like a lone wolf at a fox hunt. "What's that?" Dominic asked, sliding onto the stool beside him, his cologne a subtle cedar that made Anthony's pulse stutter. "A doodle of the mayor as a peacock," Anthony replied, not looking up, his voice laced with that Queen's edge, blunt, unpolished, real. Dominic laughed, a sound like gravel under tires, genuine and rare. They talked for hours, the gala fading into irrelevance. Dominic confessed his hatred for the empire, the way it devoured his father, Victor Hale, turning him into a husk of ambition. Anthony shared stories of his mom's endless shifts, the way she'd hide candy bars in his lunch to say, "I love you," without words. By midnight, they were on the balcony, city lights sprawling below like an electric vein. "You're not like them," Dominic said, his fingers brushing Anthony's wrist, sending sparks up his arm. "Neither are you," Anthony shot back, bold as brass. And then, the kiss fierce, fumbling, tasting of forbidden fruit. Dominic pulled back first, eyes wide with the thrill of treason. "My family's gonna crucify me." "Worth it?" Anthony murmured, and they both knew it was true. The weeks blurred into a fever dream of secrecy and stolen bliss. Dominic's penthouse on the Upper East Side became their sanctuary, all floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Hudson like a painting come alive. They'd cook pasta at 2 a.m., Anthony's hips swaying to Coltrane while Dominic chopped garlic with surgical precision. Nights tangled in Egyptian cotton sheets, bodies mapping each other like uncharted territories. Dominic's broad shoulders arching under Anthony's touch, whispers of stay echoing off marble walls. It was romance unscripted, raw as a street poet's verse. Lazy Sundays in Central Park. Feeding ducks stale bread. Midnight drives upstate. Windows down. Wind whipping their hair as Bruce Springsteen wailed about Thunder Roads. But love in the Hale orbit was never simple. Victor Hale, a bull of a man with a scowl carved from granite, summoned Dominic to the family brownstone on Fifth Avenue one crisp October morning. "Who's the stray you've been parading?" he growled over brandy. His wife, Eleanor, elegant, icy, with pearls like armor, sipping hers in silence. "He's not a stray, Dad. Anthony's everything." Dominic's voice cracked, the boardroom steel melting. Eleanor's eyes narrowed, praising. "A graphic designer from Queens? Charming. But darling, we have standards. The Hales don't slum it. It started as whispers then. Poison darts from aunts and cousins at holiday galas. Eyes sliding over Anthony like he was a smudge on fine china. Gold digger," one sneered at the Christmas soiree, loud enough for the crystal to tinkle. Climbing the ladder on his back, Dominic defended him fiercely, fists clenched white-knuckled around champagne flutes, but the barbs stuck, festering like untreated wounds. Anthony felt it too, the weight of invisible chains. "Maybe I should bow out," he said one night, curled against Dominic's chest, the city humming below like a judgmental chorus. Dominic's arms tightened, a vice of desperation. "No. You're the only real thing in this fake-ass life." They made love then, slow and deliberate, as if sealing a pact against the storm. But storms in New York don't warn. They brew in the subways and erupt on bridges. The first real crack came at the Hale Industries holiday retreat in the Hamptons, a sprawling estate where trust funds bloomed like hydrangeas. Anthony, underdressed in chinos and a button-down, stuck out like a tattoo in a tea party. Dominic's cousin, Marcus, a slick lawyer with a shark smile, cornered him by the pool house. "You know why you're here, right? Dom's just slumming till he settles down. Marry the right girl, pop out heirs. You'll get a nice severance, maybe a loft in Brooklyn to cry in." Anthony's jaw set, fists balled. "I love him, not your family silver." Marcus laughed, a wet bark. "Love, kid, this is Hale money. It buys illusions, not forever." That night, Anthony confronted Dominic in their guest suite, rain lashing the windows like accusations. "Is it true? Am I just a phase?" Dominic's face crumpled, the air's mask shattering. "God, no. You're my anchor, and this world, it's poison. You make me want to burn it down and build something true." He dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but with a key, to a brownstone in Harlem he'd bought in secret, a fixer-upper with creaky floors and potential. "Our future. No Hales allowed." Tears stung Anthony's eyes as he pulled Dominic up, their kiss salty with relief. For a moment, the world shrank to that room, to the beat of two hearts defying dynasties. But dynasties fight dirty. Victor Hale, sensing rebellion, struck at the soft underbelly. Anthony's mother, Maria, laid off from her cleaning gig at Hale's corporate offices. Coincidence, Victor claimed over a tense family dinner, but his eyes gleamed like a predator's. Maria, tough as old leather, waved it off. "Bills get paid, me Joe." But Anthony saw the lines deepen around her mouth. Rage simmered. Dominic confronted his father in the study, voices echoing like thunderclaps. "You touch him, you touch me. I'm done playing Prince." Victor's laugh was a wheeze. Done? Boy, your Hale blood. It runs thicker than your little fairy tale. The slur landed like a slap. Dominic stormed out, finding Anthony on the stoop, Maria's rosary beads clicking in his pocket like a talisman. They drove through the night, ending up at Coney Island, boardwalk empty under sodium lights. Dominic carved their initials into a weathered rail, salt air thick with promise. We'll run. And to California, or hell, Paris. Anywhere but here. Anthony leaned into him, the ocean's roar drowning doubts. As long as it's us. Winter deepened, love a defiant flame. They renovated the Harlem brownstone on weekends, Anthony painting murals of jazz legends, Dominic hauling lumber with blisters blooming on palms unused to labor. Friends trickled in. A queer collective from Anthony's art scene, misfits who toasted with cheap wine to fuck the 1%. Dominic bloomed there, trading ties for flannel, his poetry chapbook self-published under a pseudonym. Yet shadows lengthened. Eleanor's concerned lunches with Dominic turned interrogative. He's using you, darling. Look at his debts, student loans, that dying mother's medicals. Coincidence? Fabricated spreadsheets appeared, painting Anthony as a schemer siphoning funds. Doubt crept in, insidious as fog. One blizzard night, Dominic found Anthony poring over bills, forehead creased. Why didn't you tell me about the loans? Anthony's eyes flashed hurt. Because it's not your burden. I won't be your charity case. You're not, Dominic roared. But the seed was planted. Arguments flared, small at first, then wildfires. Your family's right, Anthony spat during one, door slamming like a guillotine. I'm poison. Dominic chased him into the snow, tackling him against a lamppost. You're my salvation, you idiot. Don't you dare leave. They reconciled in the cold, bodies warming against brick, but fractures spiderwebbed. Spring brought tentative mends, a weekend in the Catskills, hiking trails where Dominic proposed, not with diamonds, but vows whispered over a campfire. Till the stars burn out, summer scorched, love a fever pitch. They hosted barbecues on the brownstone roof, laughter echoing off brownstones. Anthony's designs landed a big client, a queer-owned startup, and for once, he footed the bill for dinner at Per Se. See, not all gold diggers wear hard hats, he joked, but Dominic's smile faltered, the label a ghost. Then, the betrayal, Marcus, ever the serpent, leaked doctored emails to the tabloids. Hale Ayre's toy boy, siphoning fortune for fame? Blurry photos of Anthony at galas, captions dripping venom. The fallout was biblical, Victor cutting Dominic's trust fund, Eleanor weeping crocodile tears on society pages. Dominic, hollow-eyed at breakfasts, pushed Anthony away. Maybe they're right. I can't drag you through this. Anthony's heart fractured. So that's it? We fold. I don't know how to fight them and keep you safe. Dominic's voice broke, a dam crumbling. The alley kiss that started it all replayed in reverse. Desperate. Final. Anthony packed a bag. Maria's words ringing. Love ain't a battlefield. Mijo. It's home. He left the key on the nightstand, the brownstone echoing empty. Months dragged. A gray limbo. Anthony crashed on friends' couches, designs drying up under the scandal's shadow. Dominic vanished into Hale boardrooms, a ghost in pinstripes. Whispers reached Anthony. Dominic drinking too much, skipping meals, poetry abandoned. Fate cruel jester, reunited them at a Brooklyn art crawl. Dominic, gaunt in a wool coat, lingered by Anthony's booth. I sold the brownstone to pay off your loans. Anonymously, Anthony's brush stilled, paint dripping like blood. You what? It was the only way to protect you. Dominic's eyes, once obsidian, were storm clouds. You idiot, Anthony whispered, pulling him into a shadowed corner. Their kiss was war-torn, healing scars. I never wanted your money. Just you. Forgiveness was a slow thaw. They rebuilt brick by brick. Anthony's loft now there's Dominic moonlighting as a consultant to spite Victor. Love deepened, roots twisting through concrete. They talked futures, adoption dreams, a life beyond labels. But empires crumble inward. Dominic's cough started as a tickle, dismissed as stress. Tests came back like indictments. Stage for lymphoma, aggressive, unforgiving. How long? Anthony asked, voice a thread. 6 months. Maybe. Dominic's hand in his, steady as ever. Plenty of time to love hard. The fight was ferocious, chemo suites in Sloan Kettering. Nights where Anthony held him through fevers. Whispering verses Dominic couldn't anymore. Victor visited once. Gruff with regret. Should have seen it sooner. But bridges burned too hot for easy crosses. As leaves turned, Dominic weakened, but their bond steel forged. Write our story, he rasped one dawn. Hudson glittering bloody. The real one, Anthony nodded, tears carving rivers. Every word. The end came gently. In the penthouse Dominic reclaimed for them, family barred at the door. Anthony at his side, Maria's rosary in his palm. Dominic slipped away with a smile. Gold's not the treasure. And you are. The funeral was a spectacle. St. Patrick's Cathedral. Paparazzi swarming like locusts. Anthony stood apart. Black suit ill-fitting on his frame. Hollowed by grief. Hales in pews. Faces carved from judgment. Victor stone-faced. Eleanor dabbing eyes. Marcus smirking from shadows. Whispers slithered. Good riddance to the leech. Finally free of that queen's trash. Anthony's fists clenched. Nails biting palms. He wanted to scream truths. But Dominic's last words held him. Let them rot in their gold. The priest droned. Incense thick as regret. Then, the lawyer, crisp-suited, briefcase like a bomb, approached the lectern. Mr. Hales will read in full. Gasps rippled as pages turned. To Victor, a pittance for the empire you built on broken backs. To Eleanor, jewels, reminders of the ice you wielded. Marcus, disbarment threats, exposed embezzlements. For the serpent in our garden. The room froze. Then, the hammer. To Anthony Blackwood. My heart, my home, everything. The brownstone, the trusts, Hale Industries shares undiluted. Not as payment, but as proof. You were never the digger. You unearthed my soul. Live free. Love fierce. Yours eternally, Dominic. Silence shattered into chaos. Sobs. Shouts. Victor's roar cut short by a clutch at his chest. Anthony stood unmoved, the letter burning in his pocket. Not triumph, but absolution. Dominic's truths, laid bare. As rain lashed the steps outside, Anthony walked alone, the city his again. He wouldn't sell the empire. He'd reshape it. Philanthropy for the overlooked, lofts for dreamers. Maria waited at home, tea steaming. Proud of you, Mijo. In the quiet, Anthony opened a notebook, pen to page. Their story, ungoldened, poured out kisses in alleys, vows by firelight, love that outlasted labels. Not a fairy tale, but American as jazz, gritty, resilient, human to the bone. And in the rain, he smiled. Dominic's ghost whispered, "Told you. Worth it." The weight of the will clung to Anthony like damp wool as he navigated the post-funeral crush outside St. Patrick's. Umbrellas blooming black against the downpour. Photographers' flashes pierced the gray like accusations. Their shouts a cacophony. "Anthony, did you know about the shares? How's it feel to hit the jackpot?" "Gold digger." He pushed through, collar turned up, Maria's voice a lifeline in his earpiece from the brownstone. "Head high, Corazon." He's watching. Back in Harlem, the brownstone welcomed him like an old lover. Creaky stairs, murals faded but fierce. He collapsed on the couch. Dominic's scent lingering in the throw pillows, a ghost of cedar and smoke. The lawyer's folder splayed on the coffee table. Deeds, stock certificates, a handwritten codicil. "Burn it if it cages you," Dominic had scrawled. Anthony traced the loops, laughter bubbling bitter through tears. Cage, this was wings, tattered, but wide. Sleep evaded, chased by memories. Flash to 2 summers back. A road trip down Route 66. Dominic's vintage Mustang purring like a contented cat. They'd stopped in Taos, New Mexico, under star-swollen skies, making love in a adobe casita, adobe dust on their skin. "This is us," Dominic murmured, fingers threading Anthony's hair. Desert clean, no hails in sight. Anthony had believed it then, the horizon infinite. Morning brought vultures. Victor Hale's summons, delivered by courier with a glare. Family meeting. Noon. "Don't make me drag you." Anthony crumpled it, but curiosity gnawed. The Hale brownstone loomed on Fifth, all Federalist arches and wrought iron, a monument to conquest. Inside, the air reeked of old money and newer desperation. Eleanor perched on a Chippendale, eyes red-rimmed. Marcus pacing, phone glued to ear, lawyering up. Victor enthroned in leather, oxygen mask hissing like a serpent. "You poisoned him," Victor accused, voice gravel through tubes. "Twisted my boy against us." Anthony met his gaze, steady as slate. "I loved him. You built walls. I gave him a door." Eleanor's laugh tinkled, sharp as shards. "Love? You leached his youth, his health. Those supportive visits to the doctor, coordinated to isolate him. The lie stung. Anthony had begged specialists, footed bills when Dominic's pride balked. "Check the records," he said coolly. "I was there when you weren't." Marcus snorted. "Records can be bought. Like that startup gig you landed right after cozying up." Heat flushed Anthony's cheeks, but he held fire. "Jealous? Dominic saw you for the thief you are. The will's just the receipt." Victor lunged, tubes tangling, but Eleanor restrained him, her touch tender for once. "Please. We're family now, like it or not. Settle out of court, walk with dignity." "Dignity," Anthony echoed, rising. "That's what Dominic died chasing. From you." He left them to their empire of echoes. The doors click a full stop. The streets buzzed with fallout, headlines screaming, "Hale heirs queer legacy. Betrayal or benediction?" Talk shows dissected. Pundits pontificated. Fox calling it woke sabotage. MSNBC a triumph of love. Anthony ignored it. Holing up in the brownstone. Canvas and charcoal his therapy. He sketched Dominic, not the tycoon, but the man. Laughing over burnt toast. Vulnerable in hospital gowns. Eternal in starlight. Friends rallied. Jamal, the sculptor from the collective, dragged him to a drag brunch in Bushwick. Queen's lip-syncing Gaga with gusto. To Dom, may he haunt every bigot's dreams. They toasted with mimosas. Laughter cracked Anthony's shell. But nights alone. Grief ambushed. The empty side of the bed. Coffee mugs for one. A week in. The shares hit. Hale Industries stock surged on progressive pivot rumors. Anthony's name a talisman. Board emails flooded. Invites to meetings. Pleas for vision. He forwarded them to a pro bono advisor. A Dyke firebrand from legal aid. Don't rush. Han. She advised over Zoom. Cat whiskers on her screen. This is power. Wield it like a blade. Power. The word tasted foreign. Like caviar on saltines. Anthony's first move. Reinstating Maria's crew at Hale offices. Back pay included. Her call came tear-choked. Mijo, you didn't have to. For Dom, he said simply. But power drew predators. Marcus cornered him at a coffee shop near the Flatiron. All false smiles and Ferragamo loafers. Cousin-in-law, he oozed. Let's talk merger. I run the day-to-day, you play philanthropist. Keeps the family intact. Anthony sipped his flat white. Unmoved. Family? You framed me. Dominic knew those embezzled client funds? He's got backups. Marcus paled. Coffee sloshing. Bluff. Test me. Anthony stood, leaving the viper to stew. Emboldened, he stepped into the lion's den. A shareholder meeting at Hale Tower. Glass spire piercing clouds. Suited up, Armani borrowed from Jamal, he faced the wolves. Graying execs. Ties like nooses. Mr. Blackwood. The chair oozed. Your influence is noted. But tradition killed Dominic. Anthony cut in, voice echoing off polished oak. Chemo delays for image. Now, we pivot. Green steel. Artist residencies in factories. Or I sell my stake to the highest bidder. Activists love a cause. Murmurs rippled. Nods followed. By adjournment, he was interim chair. Victor's call came that night. Wheezing apology. You fight like him. Proud. Pride from the patriarch. Anthony hung up. Chest tight. Progress. But Pyrrhic. Fall deepened. Leaves carpeting stoops like confetti from a bitter parade. Anthony dated the grief calendar. Anniversary of their first kiss. He lit candles on the balcony. Jazz vinyl spinning. Miss you, he whispered to the void. A new face entered, Luca, a barista with dimples and dog-eared Kerouac. Met at a reading. Flirtation sparked. Innocent. Shared smokes. Debates on Ginsberg. But Dominic's shadow loomed. Anthony pulled back. Too soon. Luca nodded. Kind. Grief's a jealous lover. Thanksgiving loomed. Maria insisting on the brownstone. She arrived arms laden. Tamales steaming. Empanadas golden. Jamal and the collective piled in queer chosen family. Table groaning under turkey and tostins. Laughter flowed. Toasts to absentees. To Dom, the poet who punched up. Anthony carved. Knife steady. heart mending stitch by stitch. Post-feast, Maria pulled him aside, rosary clicking. He left you more than money, Mijo. A legacy. Don't bury it. Her words ignited. Next day, Anthony announced the Dominic Hale Foundation, grants for queer artists, millworker retraining, oncology wings in underfunded clinics. Press devoured it. From gold digger to golden heart? But skeptics sneered, PR stunt. Let them. Anthony poured soul into it, unveiling at a gala in the brownstone string lights, live sax, murals restored. Victor attended, cane tapping, Eleanor on arm. Beautiful, she murmured, genuine thaw. Marcus absent, indicted, whispers said. As guests mingled, Anthony slipped to the roof, city sprawl a glittering apology. Footsteps, Luca, invited by Jamal. You did this, he said, handing a beer. All of it. Dom started it. Anthony clinked bottles. The night air crisp with possibility. Luca's hand brushed his, tentative, electric. Ready to finish? The kiss was soft, exploratory, Dominic's blessing in the wind. Not replacement, but continuation. Winter whispered in snow-dusting spires. Anthony balanced empires. Boardrooms by day, canvas by night. The foundation bloomed, first grants awarded to kids like he'd been. Dreams unfurling. Victor softened. Visits tentative. Chess games in the brownstone. Stories of Dominic's boyhood mischief. He was always the soft one, Victor admitted. Pawn sacrificed. You made him strong. Forgiveness, Anthony probed. Too late for sorry. But peace? For him. Eleanor joined once, bringing Dominic's boyhood sketchbook, doodles of factories as castles. He saw beauty in rust, she said, voice cracking. Like you, threads wove. Not erasure, but tapestry. Anthony dated Luca slow. Picnics in Prospect Park. Hands held under blankets. Love revisited. Gentler, but no less profound. You're not him, Luca said one night. Bodies entwined. You're you. That's enough. Spring equinox. Anthony scattered Dominic's ashes in the Hudson. Boat hired. Collective aboard. Petals pink on waves. To rivers that run free, he toasted. Voice carrying. No tears. Just release. Back on shore. Life pulsed. Foundation Gala 2.0. Shares climbing on ethical steel buzz. Marcus pled out. Disgraced. Victor's health waned. But calls warmed. Grandkids someday? Anthony chuckled. Queer ones. Maybe. Summer hummed. Anthony 30 now. Luca's ring a promise on horizon. The brownstone thrived. Artist co-op downstairs. Their loft above. Jazz eternal. One dawn. Notebook open. Anthony wrote the epilogue. Not tragedy, but testament. Love's not gold. It's the dig, the dirt, the diamond forged in fire. And in the light, Dominic smiled. Cicadas droned a sultry hymn as Anthony steered the Mustang, Dominic's heirloom, restored with Luca's grease monkey hands, down a Carolina back road, windows cranked, Springsteen crooning Thunder Road from crackling speakers. Luca shotgun, bare feet on dash, grinned like a kid on summer break. Your empire calls, Mr. Chair. But this is freedom. Anthony laughed, wind tousling his hair. The Foundation's Southern Tour a bomb after winter's grind. Stops in mill towns. Grants handed to weavers turning looms to solar tech. Kids in art camps sketching futures unbound. Dominic's ghost rode along, approving nods in every rearview glance. But ghosts have appetites. In Charleston, post panel on queer visibility in business. Anthony's phone buzzed. An unknown. We need to talk. The real Will. M. Marcus. Out on bail. Venom undiluted. Luca raised a brow over Lowcountry Boyle. Ignore the snake. Can't. Dom trusted me with truths. This reeks of one buried. Anthony met Marcus at a dive bar off King Street. Neon flickering like bad omens. The cousin nursed a bourbon. Eyes bloodshot. Ty ask you. You think it's over? Marcus slurred. Sliding an envelope. Yellowed. Sealed with hail wax. Read this. Dom's last letter. To me. Anthony's gut twisted. But he snatched it. Seal cracking like bone. Dominic's script. Shaky from chemo. Marcus, brother in blood. If not choice. Forgive the disinheritance. It's not hate, but justice. The money you skimmed? For mom's treatments. Dad's debts you hid. Covered. Always. Anthony knows none, don't poison that. Live better. D. The bar spun. Dominic shielding the family's rot. Propping Marcus's facade. Anthony's voice rasped. He protected you. Even then. Marcus deflated. Glass clinking. I hated him for it. The perfect son. Queering up the legacy. Thought you'd break him. Prove I was right to sabotage. Sabotage. Anthony leaned in. Ice forming. The emails? Doctored. Yeah. But the doubt? Real. I fed it. Watched you crack. A shrug. Hollow. Wanted the throne. Rage boiled. But pity tempered. You got ruins. Dom's throne was love. You could have had a seat. Marcus's laugh choked. Too late for therapy sessions. Just tell the old man. And burn that. For him, Anthony left the envelope ash in a harbor breeze. Truths sinking like stones. Back with Luca. He confessed over midnight walks. Magnolias heavy-scented. Dom carried more than I knew. Luca squeezed his hand. Steady. And you carry him now. That's the romance. Not fairy dust. But grit. Tours wound north. Heart lighter. In Philly, a mural unveiling. Dominic's face stylized in street art. Eyes alive with poetry. Tagline unearthed souls. Crowds gathered, workers. Artists. A rainbow contingent chanting. Victor flew in. Uninvited. Standing awkward in khakis. Looks like him, he grunted post-speech. Feels like him too, Anthony replied. Olive branch extended. A truce dinner. Just them. Maria's tamales shipped up. Victor chewed slow. Stories spilling. Dominic's first poem. Recited at 8. About steel birds. Thought it nonsense. Should have listened. Tears tracked his jowls. First Anthony'd seen. You gave him voice. Thank you. Forgave. Anthony pressed. Trying. For the boy who'd burn the world for love. Victor clasped his hand. Papery but firm. Join us for Christmas? The ask hung. A bridge half-built. Maybe. Fall foliage blazed as Anthony returned to New York. Boardroom battles fiercer. Execs resisting green mandates. Whispers of buyouts. He fought with Dominic's fire. Speeches laced with poetry. data as verse. "We're not rusting relics," he declared at one all-hands, screens aglow with projections. "We're the forge," claps thundered, holdouts folded. Luca celebrated with rooftop ribs, city at their feet. "My tycoon," he teased, nuzzling Anthony's neck. "Yours," Anthony murmured. But dreams stirred, adoption papers drafted, a future family sketched in crayon hopes. November chill bit, anniversary looming, the alley kiss, 3 years widowed. Anthony marked it solo first, gala suit on, mirror gaze. "Still here," he told his reflection, Dominic's eyes in his own. Then, Luca's surprise. Limo to the fundraiser where it began. Rooftop now theirs. String quartet. Champagne flutes waiting. "Dance with me," Luca said. "Hand out." Waltz under stars, fake. Strung but magic nonetheless. "Remember that night?" Anthony whispered, cheek to cheek. "Like yesterday. But this? Our tomorrow." The kiss deepened. Promise sealed. Yet drama stalked. Eleanor's call. Voice quavering. "Victor's gone. Heart, this morning. Come." The brownstone emptied of life as Anthony rushed downtown. Luca driving silent. Hale Mansion a mausoleum. Eleanor frail in silk. Marcus lurking. Subdued. "Quick," she said, leading to Victor's study. Files splayed. Ledgers. Confessions. Victor's final act. Exposing more skeletons. Shares redistributed to foundations. A codicil naming Anthony co-executor. "He saw your light," Eleanor said, handing a letter. "Said you were the son he wished he'd raised." Grief layered for Victor, the man unmasked too late. Funeral small. Private. Riverside. Autumn leaves pyre gold. Anthony spoke. He built towers. Dominic dreamed in them. Rest easy. Post-burial. Eleanor pulled him aside. The estate split it. For peace. No games. Anthony eyed her. "Games killed my boys. This is mending." Her hug surprised, brief. Bone fragile. Marcus approached. Envelope in hand. Victor's bourbon stash. Label. "For the fighters." Inside. A note. "Keep punching. Kid." V. Laughter escaped. Absurd. Family. Fractured but forming. December dusted snow. Christmas at the brownstone first joint. Maria's tree twinkled with mismatched ornaments. Collective crammed couches. Eggnog spiked. Eleanor arrived tentative. Bearing heirlooms. Dominic's watch. Ticking steady. "Time heals," she said, slipping it on Anthony. Victor's absence shadowed. But toasts lifted. To ghosts who guide. Luca proposed mid-feast. Ring simple. Silver. Engraved, Thunder Road. Anthony yesed through tears. Collective whooping. New Year dawned crisp. Resolutions whispered. Family expanded. Foundation global. Anthony wrote late nights. Story swelling, hook of alley rain. Crescendo of wills. Refrain of loves enduring. One eve. Luca asleep. Anthony climbed to the roof. Watch glinting. "Merry Christmas, Dom," he breathed to stars. Wind carried back, worth it. January's jaw clenched with frost. But Anthony's world thawed in increments. Luca's ring a constant warmth on his finger. The foundation's winter drive yielding blizzards of donations. Boardrooms bowed to his vision. Hale mills retrofitted for wind tech. Workers upskilled in solar welds. You're changing the game, Jamal crowed over coffee. Fresh mural sketches rolled under arm. Dom's grinning somewhere. Anthony nodded, but change chafed. Paparazzi tailed less, but society pages dissected. Blackwood's empire? Love's lasting ledger? Skeptics online trolled. Still digging, just with a shovel now. But supporters swelled. Queer youth demanding thanks for scholarships that bought textbooks. Not just dreams. Luca grounded him. Mornings in the loft. Coffee brewing as he sketched wedding invites. Simple, skyline silhouettes. Vegas, Luca teased. Flipping pancakes. Or that Taos casita. Desert vows. Harlem, Anthony decided. Roots. Prep wove joy with jitters. Suits tailored. Maria fretting tamale counts. Eleanor offered the brownstones garden. For continuity. Her smile tentative. Genuine. Marcus. Radio silence. But a check arrived. Repayment. Anonymous. Progress. Piecemeal. Then, the ambush. A documentary crew from HBO. Unearthed. The Hale legacy. Director. A sharp-eyed lesbian from Sundance stock. Pitched over lunch at ABCV. Your story, raw. Real. Queer love versus dynasty. Oscar bait. Anthony balked. Fork pausing mid-arugula. Dom's not bait. Not exploitation, exaltation. His poetry. Your fight. Truth as catharsis. Luca. Tagging along. Squeezed his knee under linen. Your call. But imagine. Kids seeing themselves in the gloss. Nights deliberated. Footage of the brownstone renos. Voiceovers of Dominic's verses. Anthony relented. Cameras rolling in February slush. Interviews raw. Tears unscripted. He labeled me gold digger. Anthony confessed to Lenz, but dug up my gold worth. Filming unearthed bones. Eleanor's on-camera thaw. Reading Dominic's childhood letters aloud. Voice cracking on mom. See the stars in the steel. Marcus declined. But leaks surfaced his tell-all manuscript. Betrayed blood. Ghosted for scandal bucks. Fury flared. Anthony confronted via lawyer. Cease or sue. Marcus caved. Manuscript pulped. A meeting demanded. Neutral ground. Central Park. Benches iced. Rock bottom, Marcus admitted. Gaunt in greatcoat. Lost license. Wife. Everything. Dom was right. Live better. Anthony's anger ebbed to empathy. Therapy? The foundation has resources. A nod. Broken. Starting. Thanks. Brother. The word hung. Bridge extended. Anthony clasped his shoulder. Don't thank. Earn. Spring bloom tentative. Cherry blossoms a pink apology. Wedding planning accelerated. May vows. Garden intimate. Collective officiant. Jamal DJing Motown. But drama brewed. Board revolt. Old guard plotting proxy fight against social experiments. Crisis meeting at Hale Tower. Anthony pacing glass walls. Skyline stormy. This isn't experiment. It's evolution. Execs grumbled costs. Risks. Then, ally. A young VP. Queer and fierce. Mr. Blackwoods saved us millions in green grants. Trust the man who loved without ledger. Vote swung. Revolt quashed. Anthony exhaled. Texting Luca. Survived. Beers. Celebration turned confessional. Over IPAs at a dive. Anthony admitted doubts. What if I'm just Playing tycoon? Dom hated this cage. Luca's eyes softened. Beer foam mustache. You're breaking it. For him. For us. That's the man I love. Intimacy that night. Slow. Reaffirming bodies a map of scars and stars. Marry me tomorrow? Anthony murmured post-climax. Luca chuckled. Gardens booked. Patience. Poet. April showers lashed. Foundation gala a triumph. Auction of Dominic's chapbook netting 6 figures for clinics. Eleanor bid fiercely, winning a sketch Anthony donated, their alley kiss. Rain inked. For the wall, she said, hugging him fierce. Maria pulled strings. Caterers from Queens, her pride beaming. My boys both gone, but here, tears mutual. May dawn golden, wedding eve electric. Rehearsal dinner at the loft, toasts raucous. Luca's sister from Chicago ribbing. Don't screw up, bro, Anthony's a catch. Laughter, then quiet moment. Anthony and Luca on balcony. City humming benediction. Scared? Luca asked. Terrified. But right. Vows next noon. Garden lush. Tulips nodding. String quartet Coltrane. Anthony in linen. Luca beaming. Rings exchanged under arbor. In thunder and calm, Anthony vowed. Voice steady. Your road. My home. Kisses sealed. Cheers erupted. Reception spilled to roof. Dances wild. Cake smashed with glee. Dominic's watch ticked on Anthony's wrist. A heartbeat extra. Honeymoon whispered. Amalfi, Cliffs and Limoncello. But pre-flight, bombshell Eleanor's call. The doc, it's lymphoma. Like Dom's. Anthony froze. Airport bustle blurring. Treatment. Starting. But. Stay close. Flight delayed in his mind. He rerouted. Straight to her bedside. Luca supportive. Family now. Eleanor pale in sheets. But eyes sparkled. Foolish. Dragging you from paradise. Paradise waits. Anthony sat. Holding her hand, cool. But clasped. Weeks blurred. Chemo runs. Stories swapped. Dominic's first crush. A stable boy at the Hamptons. Saw it young, she confessed. Should have championed. You do now, Anthony said. Foundation wing named for her in the works. Luca juggled. Work calls. Bedside vigils. We're a team, he reminded, massaging Anthony's knotted shoulders. June sun baked. Eleanor rallied, hair sprouting silver fuzz. Spirit fierce. Live for me, she charged at discharge. All of it. Return to normalcy fractured. Docuseries edit arrived. Raw cuts gut-punching. Premiere invite. Tribeca. June red carpet. Anthony walked it with Luca. Hand in hand, flashes blinding. Questions probing. Regrets? None. Love's the only truth. Reviews raved. A queer American odyssey. Heartbreak to hearth. Oscar buzz hummed. But Anthony cared less for gold than the emails. Your story saved me. Summer peaked. Adoption inquiry filed. Foster kid. 10. With artist's eyes. Home visits charmed. Brownstone kid-proofed. Murals interactive. Like Uncle Dom's? The boy asked. Crayon in fist. Exactly, Anthony beamed. Heart full. Yet autumn loomed early. Eleanor's scan clear, but shadows lingered. Marcus checked in sober, therapy-bound. Family picnic, he proposed. Park spread. Blankets. Sandwiches. Awkward laughs thawed to tales. Dom hated my jokes, Marcus said, grinning rueful. He did, Anthony agreed. But loved you, healing, incremental. As leaves turned, Anthony penned the will's echo. Truths revealed not in court, but courtyards love's quiet court. October's palette painted Harlem in fire, red maples framing the brownstone like a frame for their life. The adoption finalized under crisp skies. Javier, the 10-year-old with eyes like Dominic's, curious, storm deep, bouncing into forever. This is home? He asked, backpack slung, murals wide-eyed. Home, Anthony confirmed, ruffling his hair. Luca knelt, and pizza Fridays. Javier's grin split clouds. First night, bunk beds assembled, stories read, Dominic's chapbook, verses soft as lullabies. Uncle Dom wrote that? Awe in his whisper. Yeah. For dreamers like you. Foundation thrived. Javier's school sponsored. Art classes blooming. Board stable. Green initiatives yielding dividends. Hail stock a darling on ESG lists. Eleanor visited Sundays. Spoiling with cookies. Chemo a memory. Grandmother. Javier tested. Shy. Her eyes misted. I'd like that. Marcus integrated slow. Uncle by proximity. Coaching Javier's soccer. Amends in assists. Passing the ball. He quipped once. Better than stealing it. Thanksgiving sprawled epic. Table extended. Maria's feast fused with Eleanor's pies. Collective's chaos. Toasts layered to Dominic, Victor, the ghosts who gifted grace. Javier raised juice. To family messy and mine. Winter wrapped gentle. Holidays hybrid. Brownstone lit. Central Park skates. Anniversary. Alley kiss +5. Anthony and Luca retraced. Rain held off. Ghosts benevolent. Still worth it? Luca asked. Lips brushing. Every drop. Docuseries aired New Year's. Living rooms lit with their light. Tears and cheers viral. Awards followed. Emmy nod. Podium Anthony sharing. For the labeled. The loved. Dig deep. Spring unfurled plans. Javier's birthday bash. Foundation Global Mills in Mexico. Artists in Mumbai. Eleanor proposed expansion. Hail Wing in Paris? Dom dreamed there. Done, Anthony said, hugging her tight. Summer solstice. They scattered Victor's ashes. Hudson again. Boat crowded with kin. Builder to dreamer, Anthony eulogized. Rest in the steel you softened. Javier tossed petals. Wise beyond. He flies now. Fall circled back. 5 years since the gavel in Dominic's mind. Anthony, 33, surveyed the brownstone. Javier sketching. Luca grading papers. His adjunct gig. Maria visiting. Eleanor knitting. Marcus grilling. Notebook full. Story sealed. Hook of thunder. Will's revelation. Truths in every touch. Not by, not tragedy, human, American, loves that label and liberate. One eve. Roof perch. Javier asleep below. Anthony raised a glass to constellations. We did it, Dom. Unearthed and unbroken. Windside back, worth it. And in the quiet, the city sang on.